So in this equation, what we're going to do first is we are going to multiply both sides by the denominator still. So instead of like yesterday where we added or subtracted and then multiplied by a denominator, this time we have to multiply by the denominator first. Okay? So our first step is going to be to multiply by the denominator first. Okay? When I multiply by the denominator, I'm going to multiply both sides still. So when I multiply by 2 on this side, it cancels out. And then I must multiply. Wow, I really jacked this up, didn't I? What did I not do? Now looking at this. What didn't I do? Super common mistake. So I'm supposed to multiply by 2 on the other side. But did I do that? No, I missed that. Oops. So, see, we all make mistakes. So now, on the right side, we're going to multiply by 2. So, which gives me, and you'll notice that this entire little expression right here is now going to come down. Okay? And this should be 14. Now, does this look like something that we have solved before? How do I get G by itself?
Oh, you gotta bring it down.
We already brought something down. We're working. Go ahead, Mara. Yeah, we're going to subtract the constant. So we subtract 10 from both sides. And we get negative G equals 14 minus 10 does not give me a negative 3. It gives me a positive 4. But here's something that's really funny. What am I left with? Can I stay with a negative G? My end goal is to get my variable alone and positive. But as it stands right here, what is my variable? Negative. Okay? What sits in front of a variable that we don't see? A 1. So we can rewrite this as negative 1g. How do I get rid of that negative 1? We can't get, how do I separate a number and a variable? I must do what? I can't. I have to divide by negative 1, which would turn my answer. I'm going to scratch this out. If you're simply left with it, another way to look at this is that if you're left with a negative variable, all that's going to do is just flip the sign of your answer. Okay? So an easier way to think about this, instead of like actually dividing by negative 1, you can just say, oh, well, my variable's negative, but I want it positive. So I'm going to turn my variable positive. It's going to switch the sign of whatever my answer is. Okay? So positive G is, I went from a negative G to a positive G. I went from a positive 4 to a negative 4. So all it does is swap the sign of your answer. Okay? All right, let's look at the next example. Okay, so looking at this, move this over just a little bit. What is my denominator? What is my denominator here? Autumn, go ahead. 3. So if you notice, I'm going to multiply both sides by that denominator first. So my 3's are going to cancel out on the left. And you'll notice that I'm left with x plus 6, and that is what comes down. On the right-hand side, I multiply 12 times 3, which gives me 36. I actually did that math correctly, so that's a plus. So now I'm working right here. Okay, so this is that's my new equation. What would you like to do to get x by itself, Dalen?
You gotta subtract the 6's from both sides.
Correct. We're going to subtract 6 from both sides. When we do, our 6's cancel out. Our x comes down by itself, which is exactly what we want. And 36 minus 6 is 30. Okay? So we're going to multiply both sides by 2. When I multiply both sides by 2, on the left, they cancel out. And I'm left with g minus 10 equals 50 times 2 is 100. Leah, what stands in my way of g being by itself? And how do I undo that negative 10? Very good. So I'm going to add 10 to both sides. When I do that, my 10's cancel out. And my g is finally happy. It's living in a house all by itself. 100 plus 10 is 110. Okay?